Deploying VM in cloud through Cisco Intercloud Fabric, this time to Azure. This session is a continuation of the previous one in which we have deployed in Amazon. We have initiated the process of uploading the VM template to Azure Cloud. It took some time, and after it is done, we are back on this session and to show how to deploy it in the Azure Cloud. Now, saying that we have done few configuration for Azure on the previous session, like making different policies. If you have not seen that, probably it's a good idea to go back to that one and check those, and then continue on this. So these are the things already done. So we have done the policies, VDC policies for network, and system policies for the cloud, and also for the VMware. Now, as we have uploaded the template, we can create the catalog. We'll create two, app and web. And just to let you know that in the lab, I've actually previously mentioned this one, that app and web VLANs are not real VLANs. We just made it up. The real VLAN is the management one, which is 17. So I'm going to deploy one in addition to this VM on the management VLAN in Azure Cloud, and see how communication works from the data center. We've already done the user groups. So right now the process is, after we do the catalog, we'll start provisioning web, app, and management, and then test the network connectivity. And later we'll probably initiate a move. To see the diagram, as I kind of using this diagram from the beginning, I think in previous slides there was a typo on the bottom left hand side. ICX, Intercloud Extender, is on the enterprise data center, and ICS is on the intercloud switch, is on your cloud side. Okay, now these are the setup we have done in last few sessions. Deploy ICF host VM, PNSC, ICFD, CVSM, ICX, and ICS. If you're not clear that what your VM does, what job, probably it's a good idea to go back to the session and have a look. For now, I'll just say that ICX and ICS, they're making the tunnel, and they're doing this in a seamless operation of workload possible. Now, next, after making the catalog, we are going to provision a web VM through the user portal, and that's VLAN 10. App VM, which is VLAN 11, and a management VLAN 17. So as I said, the VLAN 17 is the only active one. So after the management VLAN is provisioned, then we will see that how we can log into the server and to do some network testing on that management VLAN. And later we will do routing through IG and VSG on the later sessions. Okay, let's get going. So this is the portal, ICFD. I'm sure you're by now familiar with that. If I say ICF Cloud, I end up here. You can see the Amazon Cloud is operational, and also the Azure one. So we'll be focusing on the Azure for this session. ICX is 59.59, and ICS this is your public IP. But if I go into the CVSM, this is the Cisco Nexus 1000V as a CVSM. Show. So it'll tell you like so Azure ICX is 59 and ICS is 60. That's the IP address. And we are going to deploy the VM on web and app. So show. There's an assign interface right now, you can see. And also let's check the app. There's an assign interface. So let's go and start working, and then we'll see the interface assigned to those VMs. So to do that, first we have to check the policies. We did create those policies. system policy, I've got Azure for management one, Azure for web, Azure for web app, and then networking policy. In my last session, I explained that why you need these policies and how does it fit in together. This is management, and then your Azure, these two. So we are ready to create the catalog. Okay. So this is the user group we created that was explained in the last session, and we're going to select Azure this time. And we didn't have the your template uploaded, so this is now available after we upload the template. Yeah, that's 2008. Then we can clone this one and make multiple of them. As a matter of fact, the VDCs plays an important role. You could have multiple of them, but ultimately you have to select through the VDC. Would probably change the icon. Okay. Catalog is done. Now let's initiate the deploying of VM. So this is User Portal. I logged in as a user using a different browser, and the catalog. Yeah, I should say all of them. So Azure Management VM. Let's start with this one because that's what we're going to test. And you have to select the VDC for management. That's the you can check it probably, but we could actually disable this option. So it's the management one and the management VM IP. So let's close this next and then submit. Let it go. As you know that from the last session that it'll kick off a service request, and as you can see here, as a user you can see that it's kind of going through the process. You could add a approval. We haven't done this for your lab environment, but maybe in production you should you have a approval inserted into the workflow. Now let's kick off another two. And before you do that, let's have a look at the Azure portal here. Okay, this is my ICS. This is actually someone else's using the same lab. So it has already kicked in. Management Azure, this is 61. It's kind of starting this process of the management VM that I've just started. It's pretty quick. It doesn't take more than probably 4 to 5 minutes. At best, I've seen also 3 minutes 30 seconds also. But the time it takes to upload the VM template, which is obvious. So let's go and initiate another two. And another one for web. You have to make sure that you have enough space available on the cloud because otherwise it's gonna fail. It's kind of understandable. So that is web. So you might want to check on the Azure side the settings and then usage. You can see we have got 20 cores, so I have enough space and your resources so far, so it should be good. And we can check from the admin portal. We can check the service request progress here. So we should be able to, log into the management one straight away, but we won't be able to do for the web and app because there's no real VLAN there. But in your environment, in your production or customer environment, yeah, the VLAN would exist definitely before you do that, and you should be able to use it straight away. So for now, I'm going to put a pause because it just takes 3, 4, 5 minutes. I'll wait for that and come back. Okay, the management one is complete, as you can see, and let's have a look at the SR service request. So it started at 11, almost 12, and then finished at 12:04. So 4 minutes 40 seconds around. And if you see the logs, it kind of tell you that what exactly it's doing. Once the instantiated the cloud VM, and later you can see here okay, what it does, it SSH the PNSC SSH into the VM and then configure the ICF configuration there and also insert the driver. So pretty much the logs says in detail that what exactly it is doing, and if it fails for any reason, it'll tell you, it'll become red, and you'll know that why that happened, and it's easier to troubleshoot that way. So that is done, and now I'm in from the data center. Okay, before I do that, let's show that what is the VM in the ICFD. So similar to AWS, you have all the clouds VM here. Select Azure, and then the kind of the provider. And you can see the VMs. Those are coming up, but this is already ready management one. And the IP address is 17.17.45. So kind of ping this one before. So this is I have network connected from my your data center. So I'm inside the data center, and your VM is this one, the MGMT VM on the Azure cloud. And try to RDP into that. You'll have to make sure this is enabled. RDP is enabled, and you know the password for the local admin. At this code, it doesn't join to the domain straight away, as I mentioned before, but I'm hoping that it would do pretty soon. So yeah. So though I'm in the RDP session into the cloud, which is in the VM, and it's the same kind of experience as you do from inside your data center, same IP address and configuration here. Okay, that's the IP. And you'll see other IP addresses. That's from Amazon. Uh, Sorry, this time Azure. So the cloud will have their own your IP addresses, and also on top of that, PNSC does the magic and give the IP address and configure that interface. Okay, that's pretty much it. And other VMs are getting provisioned. What I'll do now, I will initiate a move of a VM from the cloud back to the your data center. So if you're looking at this one, so this one probably web VM, I'm going to move that to the enterprise data center. And for that, we created a VDC, because without the VDC, you won't be able to do that. The VDC must have the network configuration specially for the web VM, and we already created that. So maybe I can just have a look before I initiate the process. So on the VDC, virtual data center, there is one for VMware. So you can see that VMware complete policy, which says which host is going to go, and also your network policy. So now let's initiate the move of the web VMs. How do you do that? Compute. And it's going to take some time. The process works the moment you initiate your move. It copies that AMI file. Sorry, this is Azure, so this is a VHD file. So VHD file from Azure to PNSC, and then it converts into a raw format, and from there it converts into the VMDK, and then move it to the vCenter. So quite a bit of process involved, because we are talking about two different environment and two different file type altogether, and its size is 40 gigs. So let's do that. This one is web. Okay, migrate VM to premise, and you can rename this at this stage if you want to, but for us we'll just keep the same name. Okay, and this is on server host. You select that which host you're going to put in and which storage. Remove the source VM. Before we do that, let's look at the VM here. So this is the one. Oh no, sorry, this is the management one. Let's refresh the screen. Okay, now you can see all of them. So the one web is this one. Okay, it's running. The moment we initiate the process, another service request is generated here. So it's a kind of initiated the VM, and this screen shows you what exactly it is doing. Powering of the cloud VM. Let's go to the cloud and see that where it is right now. Yeah, it's probably sending the request to power up that. So it's first of all it'll shut down the VM, then move the AMI file, and then it'll remove it from here. And Other thing I wanted to show that the template, the VM template we uploaded. So if I go into the compute now, this is the enterprise templates I have on the vCenter, and these are the ICF templates. So one for Imagine, other for Azure. And on the cloud side, you should see also that image, that in a template. This should be here. This is the one. This is a cryptic number name here, and the last updated is that's today's date. So that's the image. All the images available. These are other people's images they are using for VSG. Okay, so this is web. It stopped and deallocating, and now we'll start the move to the PNSC. I'm going to stop this session right now because it is going to take some time. The process would be once it moves inside the data center, then we should be able to communicate from the VM inside the data center to the one outside. So I'll probably initiate one more. So this web VM will go into the data center. So I'll initiate one more in the web, and I'll probably remove the management one because we don't need that anymore. And then we'll try to communicate from inside the data center to the outside, to the cloud. And at that stage, you won't be able to route between this one and the app one. We need a integrated gateway because we don't have a real gateway in your customer environment or in your lab. If you have a that VLAN exists, yeah, it should work fine. So we will do that. The advantage of IG or CSR is it kind of reduces the ping time. The packets doesn't have to travel all the way back to the private cloud, your router, and then come back up. So if you have the CSR, the routing is done inside the cloud. So that'll be the process to move forward. For now, I'm going to pause the recording and then come back once it is ready. Okay, it's done, and I'm back. And let's see the service request. What happened during the move of the VM? So you can see this service request 64 and the web Azure SHLR 63. That was the VM was moved. Let's check onto your logs. So I was doing multiple move at the same time, so it took quite a bit of time. Normally it doesn't take that long. So let's see the logs, what happens. As I explained before, first thing it does, it power off the VM, and before that it'll check that the VDC is prepared or not, and then it start downloading. That's pretty much the most of the time it is downloading the VM, and how much file size is 42 gig, and you can see how much it is downloading. So it gives you pretty up-to-date information that what's doing. And once the download is completed of the image, then it creates the OVA VMDK file and converts the cloud image to enterprise format, creates the OVA VMDK, and then it's wait until the VM creation is complete. So it's starting to create the VM into the vCenter, and then rest of the things is policy and network, those things that check into that, and ultimately it's completed. So so status right now is this kind of where we are. So we deployed first management VM into Azure. Then that's VLAN 17, and we kind of ping that RDP that box from inside the data center. Then we deployed a web, which is VLAN 10, and app, which is VLAN 11. So this is the current status, and then we kind of I terminated management VM because I don't need that anymore, and we moved the web VM to the data center. Right now the web VM is inside the data center, and it is Azure 63. And I deployed another VM on the web so that from the web VM in the data center I can go into the web VM into the Azure, because they're in the same VLAN, and from there we'll test connectivity. Right now there is no routing available within the VLAN 10 and 11, so we'll deploy something like CSR into Azure, CSR into vCSR into Amazon, and integrate gateway in Azure. So, but that's later. Let's check the connectivity when we have moved that. So if you go back into the compute tab here right now, so and that's your DMZ virtual center, and that's the VDC we have, the single VDC we have. So I moved that 63 from Azure, and on my previous session I kind of initiated from Amazon also. So I have 2 from Amazon, 1 from Azure in the data center. And now if I go back to the Azure, I'll see there's one app, one web, one management. I think the management is still there, so let's terminate here. The reason I was waiting that to terminate that so I can show you, it's so easy to kind of terminate a VM. So management I don't need anymore. I'm going to terminate that, and it's going to get out from the ICF. So the one in Azure Web is 10.13, and the one in the Virtual Center is 10.11, and that's 63. So let's go into the Virtual Center and try to log in there. So that's my Virtual Center here, and that's Web Azure SHL 63. So I kind of open the VM RC console here. Oh, okay, that's gone. Let's refresh this one. Okay, so I was here. You can see that this is 10.11, and the one in the Azure was 10.13. So let's ping. So I'm in the my data center. I'm communicating with the web VM into the Azure cloud. So you can see you can ping there, and also I'm sure I can RDP also. So and if it is SSH, you could also do the same thing. Okay. Let it log in at the same time.
let's go back and see the Amazon VMs. Amazon Web IP address is 10.12, which is in the Amazon cloud. So okay. Sorry, that was my son sleeping next door. So so I can see that I can from the VM inside the data center, I can communicate with the VM in Azure, in Amazon at the same time. And also the RDP session is up. Yeah, and that's in Azure. That's the Amazon Azure IP address. 13. So what I mean to say here that from the VM, once you deploy it, you can communicate in any cloud, be it Amazon, be it Azure, be it private data center. So that's makes the operation seamless, and we can move the VMs across. So you have seen that I have moved the VM from the Amazon and Azure. The last session I showed from the Azure side, and the one before is showed from the Amazon side. I have all the videos in the previous YouTube channels, so if you have missed that, probably it's a good idea to start from the technical overview and then part 1, part 2, part 3. That kind of shows all sessions I did record previously. So we have two VMs, one web and one one is 5563. So I'll probably move one back to the cloud just to show the process of moving back. So let's go here. That's the DMZ virtual center. Now 55, let's put it back. Move. You can see also the move history that when it was moved, cloud to on premises at this time. So same thing, put the same name, and also you have to select the cloud. So this is from AWS. Okay, let's put it back to AWS. AWS Web VDC, and then okay. And remove the source VM from here. It's gonna take some time, so we're not in a hurry. So that's pretty much it for the session, just deploying the VM into Azure. And the next one, we would kind of go over the CSR and integrated gateway, and kind of explain that again. Like right now, this status is, this one is for Azure. So we have one web VM in Azure, one in the enterprise, and one in the app in the Azure cloud. For Amazon is the same thing. Amazon, we have two VMs, web VM. So we'll just put it back one into the cloud. So ultimately there will be two web VM in the Amazon cloud, one app VM. And there's no routing between app VLAN 10 and VLAN 11. So next episode I'm going to deploy the CSR in Amazon and integrate gateway for Azure and do the routing, because the you can probably check here because it doesn't hurt. So the app one, say app VDC is we are already into the web your VM through the RDP 13. That was the IP address for 13, right? Yeah. And the one for the app is 11.10. So let's go there 11.10. Okay, so this is in Azure Web VM. Yeah, it's not going to work because there's no routing. In your customer environment or in your data center, probably the VLAN exists, then this would work. So this is just in our lab. And we can also have a look on the Azure portal. So these are the your VMs available right now. So app and web, and on the Amazon side, so that's web AWS and AWS. One thing you might want to note that you can't terminate a VM which is in the vCenter. That you need to do from the, you can't terminate here, or you can power on or power off from the ICFD. But if it is in the cloud one, you could probably do that. Yeah, you could terminate from here. So we have just terminated one, which one was the management. So let's see how it's going. Yeah, so that's gone. There was 3 of them, if you remember. One was management, and that's terminated. So that's it. So next one, I hope to kind of come back and see the next one, which will be, I think, more interesting. And please feel free to leave feedback in the comment section. Thank you.